For all you social media nerds out there, especially you guys on Twitter, I've got Flash Film News in the house. Let's chat.
Everybody come on, let's get down. Get down.
Get down. Thank you, Freak Bass, for the music, my friend. Dog barking. I'm in a multi-million-dollar studio. I swear to God I am. Anyway, Flash Film News in the house. What's up, buddy?
Not much, my friend. It's been a long time coming.
It has. I feel like I'm interviewing somebody from the mafia here. We should have like your voice altered. But I understand you have to be anonymous for certain reasons. So, okay, first of all, everybody that's on fandom on Twitter, they know who the hell you are. And by the way, you're building your audience like crazy. I mean, it's impressive. I can't lie, it's impressive. How many handles do you have right now?
Roughly we have around 8 active handles, but truly it's 4 prominent handles going on right now. But we're currently working on a rebrand where we may consolidate them all and truly keep at least 3, mainly for the Batman Film News and the Batman Film News as well. I know it's 2 Batman accounts, but the last one I spoke about, that was the original Batgirl Film News, and I have a soft spot for that account, and it's such a great time capsule of what happened during production that I really don't want to lose anything. And for anyone just to scroll down and see what happened of what that movie could have been.
Absolutely. And to kind of get this part out of the way, so we know each other, and I consider you a friend of mine. You're a very passionate fan. We've had some differences in the past in terms of certain ways, like the where I come from. It's not a scoop or leaks or anything like that. It's just kind of celebrating fandom. But the difference in you and I haven't always agreed with, there's been times I'm like, I wish that they wouldn't put that out or whatever. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, what has always separated you is that underneath it all is a passionate fan. And when that part of you comes out, it's always there. But when that part of you comes out, especially with Flash Film News, like you're as good as anybody at this Twitter social media conversation. And so I want to thank you for that because it's important. It's fandom is so
thank you.
It's so toxic and or it can be. And a lot of people don't realize that, right? We're talking about online fandom. If you're sitting around a bar, people aren't yelling at each other about Zack Snyder movies or The Last Jedi. Or, I mean, maybe somewhere. Fuck, I don't know. I've never seen it. But kind of funny to think about that actually transpiring in real life. But you bring joy and optimism, and ultimately that's what matters. And so for that, I tip my hat to you, my friend. So
thank you. That's always been the core model for these accounts. Is truly tough for the fans and for the characters themselves, because it's truly the characters are bigger than whoever's under the cowl, whoever's representing them. Because at the end of the day, they live on forever.
Wait a minute.
That right there.
No, I'm sorry. Finish your sentence. I'm sorry. It was a little bit of delay in a lot of you're saying, but you said they live on forever, and that right there.
No, that right there, it's what's most important for me and also for the fans, because everyone's passionate about whether it's the Flash, Batman, Superman. You can name them, the pantheon of DC, or even the pantheons of Marvel heroes, or even Star Wars. And the thing is, there's, instead of just getting into debates on who's the best, who's this, who's that, I'm like, no, because end of the day, you're there for the characters, and that right there, it's what I find that's been the goal throughout. Just not delve into the debates, not delve into any of the toxicities, because I respect everyone's opinions, whether I may agree with them or I may not, because end of the day, it's your passion. It's how you view it, and I'll respect that, and that's how we've always ran these accounts, and that's kind of been a little bit the secret sauce on this crazy. Like I wouldn't call it success, but it's just been a uh, a roller coaster of what's been going on ever since we sent out the first tweet. I believe it's like almost 2 years ago.
What handle was the first tweet?
The first tweet was in the Flash Film News.
66,000 followers, dude. 66,000 on Twitter alone, just on Flash Film News. That's a lot of followers, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of eyes. You got to be careful what you say.
And Elon Musk has gotten rid of all the bots, so it's just all legit people. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm just kidding. I am going to tag you on Twitter real quick. But yeah, so ultimately, again, it's about the passion for the characters. And it's interesting that you say, there's been endless incarnations of these characters in comics and film and animation. Somehow, somewhere along the way, we got tribal even about this. Like, we have politics, we have sports. Sports is supposed to be tribal, at least. Take it from a Dallas Cowboys and a Texas fan. The college team and the NFL team, everybody loves to hate. But I guess politics is by nature tribal, unfortunately. But in terms of this getting tribal is so like antithetical to what it's supposed to be in the first place. It's supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to be joy. And these characters were created before 2016. I mean, remind some people out there, or 15, 14, whenever certain films came out. I won't get into names and go down that rabbit hole though. But yeah.
Careful, buddy.
Yeah, I won't. So I wanted to just pick your brain a little bit about fandom in a sense and everything, but let's dive a bit into what you've been up to. Now, we don't want to talk any spoilers here or anything like that. You certainly don't want to reveal any sources, and I understand that completely. But what I will say, following you, I mean, look, I can't lie. There's stuff that you've come across. I'm like, how the hell is he getting this stuff? Like, where is this stuff coming from? And wow, it's been pretty, it's crazy. I mean, you've got legit sources. There's no doubt about that. But aside from all that stuff, what has been your biggest takeaway from this experience so far? And is it Batgirl? I feel like that's probably what it is. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say.
What the hell happened with that movie? We have the aforementioned disclaimers and all that, so we'll have that discussion under this umbrella. What? Why are we not seeing this movie? I mean, really, ultimately, why are we not seeing this movie?
I do not know. I'm being frank about it, because I still remember the day when the news broke that it got canceled, and I believe it was the New York Post who did that. And I was one of the first accounts just to jump on that, just stating this is a fake news, because quite frankly, I was talking to people in production. They were already in a post production at that time, and I was talking to them the day before, because I always keep tabs on what's going on, and they were working. They were apparently they were just the studio mandated a day break or something at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, I'm thinking where the hell is all this coming from? And then all of a sudden, the trade started jumping in. I think it was an hour later. The Wrap, Umberto confirmed it, and then you had Deadline and Variety just jumping on it. I'm like, this is insane. Of all the projects, and just I have a hobby on just following different film projects, whether it's from DC or even Star Wars, so I can tell where something might be a problem. Batgirl wasn't one of them. It was a smooth production. Everyone was happy. Things were going well. The only problems that were going on in Glasgow, to be honest, was some nuisance that the production was having. Issues with kind of like the tax reimbursements WB was going to be receiving, and how the kickbacks are going to go back to the city. And then other than that was, I think it was a 2-week delay for the film production due to Keaton's travels. from some COVID versions. But that was it. That was really it for
And
just anything of like anything that was chaotic on set. There was nothing was a flag to even begin with.
and they, I understand that, the claim is that it wasn't worth releasing, and maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I've never seen it. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I've never seen it. Like, I've known people who have seen what was called the funeral cut that they were showing on the lawn,
Yeah.
and some people loved it. Others they said it was fine, and fine in a sense that for the cut that they saw, they knew it was a rough cut. It was nothing final, and the score that it got even prior to the funeral cut was roughly around the same scores that Black Adam received, Shazam, and a few other films. And we're talking about the first cut. So if you work on it, that should rise. So it was baseline okay to begin with, and not only that, the film was structured just to be a street level film. Something it was focused small, and I guess just pivoting away from streaming and going to and putting this in the theater, that may have been the issue. That the film itself kind of felt too much of a TV movie, which, quite frankly, that it was designed for that. But if you looked at the set and everything that they put together, really that was not the case, and it's kind of a unfair comparison to just viewing the cut that they had, the rough one, just to judge it how it was presented, because it didn't go through the post, it didn't go through color corrections or anything. You're seeing the roughest thing that you can imagine, and you're just really just watching the story itself and nothing else.
Right. And the thing that's most tragic for me is Michael Keaton, because I know that they had plans for him far bigger than just the Flash. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of the Flash that his stuff was cut out of, and I don't mean cut out in the same run of the mill process in terms of editing. This was cut out because of changes that were happening that he probably wouldn't be back. I mean, we know for sure he was in the final scene before they put Clooney in. And by the way, I love the Clooney cameo. It's great, but it's not, that's not in a vacuum. Any other plans have been scraped, at least for now, and Batgirl is gone. And I tell you, the thing that really breaks my heart is when you guys have posted pictures of Keaton on set, and there's something about his suit and his presence has a much more 89 feel to it. I mean, this is clearly, or was clearly, Tim Burton's Michael Keaton Batman. Whether or not that is exactly what he was in The Flash kind of remains a little bit of a mystery. I've gone back and forth with this, but ultimately I like to pretend like he's not, since he's dead. Spoilers for The Flash for the 20 of you that saw it. But there was something just in the look, the aesthetic, and just as a super fan of him and that role, it sucks. It really sucks. Do you think that we'll see him again? With everything that's transpired and everything that's happened, is Michael Keaton as Batman, was The Flash his final curtain?
Unfortunately, maybe the final curtain for him, because if they were to move forward with another Keaton Batman, whether it would have been the planned Batman Beyond, or maybe a short or something, you're looking at something just going into production, and with an end product, maybe 3 to 4 years. And
and
Keaton, like, he was great. He looked great.
Yeah, he looked great.
They just got to catch up to him at that moment, and then I doubt that he'll want to move forward with that role 5-6 years down the line. If you trade, why don't you want to come in? Like,
yeah,
if anything, they may do. There is a possibility he may do like a quick cameo that I could see maybe in the cards, but just as a center figure or a side character, I I don't know. I think that this
Eh,
was the final curtains for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, go
As
big or go home anyway. If he's not a lead, I'm done. But you know the
Mhm.
you look back at his career as Batman, and he gets cast, he gets ridiculed like crazy because he's Mr. Mama's Batman, right? And he didn't have the wrath of the internet, but it was still Batman.
But he had the wrath of the letter writing campaigns that
He did.
happened.
No, of course it was all relative, right? So, and then there's
Oh yeah.
that. Then the movie's successful, and then he's beloved, right? So there's that transition. And then Batman Returns comes out, and it's contentious and maligned. And then he shows up for Batman Forever with Rene Russo as Dr. Chase Meridian, mind you. And he hates it. He doesn't like Schumacher's vision. He doesn't like his script. And I don't blame him. I thought it
Hmm.
was at least 40% trash. And so he leaves kind of bitter. Batman Returns made him a little bitter. The whole Batman Forever thing made him bitter. And then he embraces being Batman in this really cool, comical way. And he's giving commencement speeches and everything. He's on Batman. It's all good. And then he returns to this uber toxic environment and a movie that frankly should have done really well. And because it's a damn good movie. It's unfortunate.
It was a damn good. It was a fun time. It
It was
wasn't
a it was
perfect,
a
but it was
no.
great.
It was a lot
No,
of fun.
and
It had a lot of heart, and I still have my poster right there from when I saw it, my early
it's
screening of
great.
it.
I love it.
Yeah, and I tell you, so then there's that, and then the box office in this thing is humiliating. And I don't want to get into the whys of that. There's a million reasons, I think, but ultimately, this universe is
And
over.
there's
So
not.
now, James Gunn is going to do his Batman. You still have Matt Reeves, thank God. So that's all
Mhm.
still happening. I really hope that I hope honestly that Reeves or Gunn is in production with his Batman as the third final part of the trilogy for Matt Reeves is being released or something like that. So in other words, if this was on the Chris Nolan Dark Knight timeline, they're filming his Batman in like 2010, maybe 11, something like that. You know what I mean? Because Rises came out in 12. By the way, today was 11 years for Dark Knight Rises. We should say that for a moment.
Amazing.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. What are your thoughts on that movie? Just kind of jump into that real quick. Looking back on it and everything now, how do you feel about the Dark Knight Rises 11 years later?
11 years later, to be honest, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. It was the weakest of the three, but end of the day, it ended on under Nolan's terms, and for
That it
me,
did.
like I respected that.
Yeah, I loved it, and I think general audiences obviously did. The critics did, but in
Mhm.
terms of getting into like micro fandom, I understand some of the complaints, and some of the execution was a little sloppy. And it is
Oh yeah.
it's the least effective one out of the three, but I still love it, and I think it was also ahead of its time in many ways, especially the social underlining commentary that's sort of going
Mhm.
on, the politics, if I may, going into some of the stuff with Bane and getting into this. Well, I don't want to turn this into a political discussion, so I got to really watch myself because if I go there, it's like a dose of sugar, and I'll go and I'll take off and I won't stop, and I don't want to do that. So I'll refrain. But it was ahead of its time. I'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
But anyway,
I agree.
back to Gun. So Dark Knight Rises, yay. So back to Gun. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping is that just let it breathe at this point. Let Batman breathe,
Mhm.
and then let this Matt Reeves thing. Don't overlap it and dilute it. I mean, right now we
Yeah.
have we have Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton. We have 3 live action Batman. That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
I don't know. And we have a fourth mystery one. Whoever's going to be cast for Brave and Bold.
Right. I'm talking like right now. I guess really in a sense you got to say
Mhm.
4 because
Oh well, yeah, you have
Clooney
Clooney.
is back. I mean, for whatever
There we
it's
go.
worth, he's there.
He looked
He's
great.
dude, he's that guy's age. I had my buddies Bob Seska and Freakbase on. We're talking about that. Like it's one of those human beings that just gets, he looks better at 65 than he did at 25. Yeah, that dude's a trip.
Yes.
And he's a really good actor
Bastard.
and director. I mean, George Clooney is one of
He
those guys
is.
that you look at his career, you go back to like Facts of Life, and then some of his sappy stuff that he was doing, and then you look at Oh Brother Where Art Thou, You look at oh, I'm trying to think of the name of some of these films. That one really stands out. I mean, he is. I mean, and all the Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 11 stuff is a riot. I mean, great fun. God, I forget sometimes how much I love those films. I actually really love all three of them, and his chemistry with Brad Pitt's great. Yeah,
It's phenomenal. And,
oh, it's
what are your thoughts on The Men Who Stare at Goats?
I'm sorry.
The Men Who Stare at Goats. That's it.
I don't remember it. I need to revisit it. I know that it's
Revisit it.
no.
It's one of those obscure Clooney films, but it's great.
It's one of those movies I wasn't watching sober. I don't know if you've ever done it. You've seen it intellectually, you know you have, and then you're like, I don't remember much of it. I remember laughing. I remember one part. Like, did I really remember that part, or was that I just saw it in the trailer 1,000 times? Yes, the Minnesota.
There you go.
Goats.
That and also Up in the Air. That was like a close film to my heart.
Yeah, Clooney's
when that came out. Yeah,
we did a.
He has a great career, especially for someone that, like, with the Batman curse, or just like any cape curse that's out there for anyone who don't whether they're Superman, Batman, whomever, that if they have a failed project, sometimes it follows them through. But Clooney, he just embraced it.
He did,
and it came out on top. And
yeah,
it's something to aspire to.
There's never been a bad actor playing Batman, my friend. Never. In fact,
I never said that there is.
No, I know.
I loved all of them.
I know you have it. We're on the same page. My aforementioned friend Bob Seska had this great thing. He put on, I think, his Instagram, and there's a scene with Adam West, and it should just be so embarrassingly bad to watch, but I got to remember it correctly. I think, yeah, he's got his red phone and a normal phone, and he's Batman, and then he's Bruce Wayne, and he's Batman, and he's Bruce Wayne. And it's brilliant. I mean, and Bob put something like, every actor that wants to play Batman, Bruce Wayne, should have to audition with this scene. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have thought about this before Flash Film News. Almost said your name. I don't know your name. I'm just kidding. And had that queued up. Oh shit!
There's a friendship down the drain. Thanks.
That's a missed opportunity. God, that's a funny scene. But yeah, every actor is great. All right, getting a little bit off track here. Just talking about Batman and all that. Let's kind of come full circle and loop back around to you and everything. So your sort of sweet spot with this adventure of yours has been the Batgirl stuff, which is crazy. I still I hope that we get to see it someday, especially with Keaton, and it's self-serving. I know.
I think there's a possibility.
Well, you never know.
It's because the thing is, I believe it was last month, a small little snippet of Keaton emerged online with the directors. So essentially, there's something floating out there.
Yeah, well, you got the Schumacher cut that's floating around. Obviously, we got the Snyder cut.
I am dying to see that.
Yeah, man, I would too. Like, just as a Batman fan, I don't particularly like Batman Forever. There's stuff in it that I enjoy, so I don't hate it. But I can go 4 or 5 years without watching it. Which, for people that aren't super fans of Batman, they're like, why would you watch any movie again you don't like? They don't understand how we're wired. I watch Batman and Robin. I have to watch it from beginning to end at least once a year. I have to. It's in the rule book. I don't write the rules. We just follow the rules, right? But what else? What else in the little time we have left here? Give me some more. Just what's been outside of Batgirl the most rewarding or interesting, or both, part of your journey with your 50 million Twitter followers and your connections that you've made and everything?
To be honest, it's just the reception that we've received with the fans. I can tell you, especially just with the release with the Flash. Yeah, it didn't do so hot in the box office, but we've had people just send us messages, DMs, emails, just thanking for all the work that we put together for the promotional development, just keeping fans just excited, regardless of all the drama that was surrounding the film. Some of it true, others it was just this fabricated hate just for clicks because quite frankly, clickbait, yeah, you got to pay the bills. So. And unfortunately, that film just fell into those trappings. But then not only that, it's a reception and the things that we've received from the production. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to get too much in details, but just having those individuals just reach out and thanking us for everything that we put together is extremely just heartwarming and rewarding at the same time. Because quite frankly, when we started this journey, we never came in just for the clout or just to get connections or jobs within the studio or anything like that, or even receiving swag, which to be honest, we got nothing from the studio. Zip, and that's another story to tell on how studio marketing handled the film and also with the relationships that the studio had with certain accounts from the beginning, which was extremely receptive. And then all of a sudden they changed the tune and decided to go another route, which quite frankly was one of the few factors that went against the Flash. And it's just been it's been rewarding just to keep it simple. And
that's great.
To be and also, no, to be honest, that because of it, we just want to keep going. And yeah.
Well, I hope you guys do. And just for myself, and I'm not being preachy to you, I'm just saying to you as my own cup of tea and what's in my wheelhouse, the way you guys were covering and handling Flash film news, I hope I see more of that from y'all and less of Batgirl news. And that's not a knock. It's just what's in my cup of tea, my personal preference. And because I felt like with Flash film news that you guys were covering the movie a little more than scooping the movie, if I may say. And again, nothing wrong with what you're doing, man. It's a free country and it's all good. And I think that you're a passionate fan. I just I respect
that. And
but I really, really, really loved when I followed you guys on Flash Film News and I knew it was you. I was like, this is different. And this feels like a celebration of the film, and it worked, and it was really great. Just take that for whatever it's worth. It's just my opinion, but I just wanted to share.
No, thank you. And that was truly the goal, because we want to do something different from any. Because originally this was it was formed as one of those update accounts that you see out there, whether it's like anything that's news or breaking. Of course, we'll cover, but then we thought that's kind of boring. We don't want to be that. We want to add something new to it, because it's not just me who's running it. I have a team of 8 dedicated individuals that share the same passion as I do. And actually, you may know some of them, but we figured something. This is a opportunity that we learned when we were. I know it's like contentious for you when we were covering and helping up with promotions of the Snyder Cut, that we have a pretty good knowledge base on what goes on in film and how films are made, and especially when it comes to pre and post production. And it's something that a lot of people don't know. So we kind of figured let's just use that type of angle covering this. And not only that, anything that came with a negative connotation to any of the production. So we felt it was like our duty not to lean on that, but to actually explain explicitly what's going on, whether it was the Ezra issues that happened last year. You never saw us jumping on those headlines. We actually did a robust coverage on what happened and a clear, concise explanations of why certain things came as a result of it. And to some people, they felt it was us defending the individual. But quite frankly, we were trying to have people like have the audience not fall into these trappings because you have these headlines stating, "Oh, a felony burglary happened, 27 years." Yeah, if you look at the statute, yeah, that's the maximum sentence. But to be honest, you can always have a judgment that goes all the way down to a misdemeanor, and people were forgetting that. And not only that, I know you had some of the versions of our coverage from Backroll because we did post a lot that happened on set because quite frankly they decided to film out in the open, and it was something that it's rarely seen. So
Listen.
we dove into that, but then also, to be honest, we kept so much off.
I
from
believe
Twitter
you.
that we have not published.
If you were just
To the
some
point
shade,
where
if you-
even though
listen, if I
no,
thought
to
you
the
were some
point,
shade-
this is a little funny. We actually had one of the directors reach out, just stating we're doing too much of a good job for us to kind of hide the ball. I sent him one of the clips that we were holding on him, and I told him, "Oh, we are, and we're not publishing this and a whole list that we have out of respect."
That's cool, man. I mean, that really is cool.
was
And,
kinda-
and by the way, if I thought you were some shady scooper, I wouldn't be talking to you. You're
But the shady scoopers are great.
Hey,
to be
listen.
honest.
Here's the deal about shady scoopers. The studios could get ahead of so much of it and cut them off at the knees. Like, I was a big proponent. Why not just release a publicity picture still of Keaton in costume? Who gives a shit if we're in the middle of the Batman? Who cares? It's in pre-production. There's already been.
I'm with you.
Yeah, there's already been pictures of him that were drawn. Like, just do it. It's not, at this point, it doesn't matter. We live in this world where everything coexists. Put out a badass picture, and then once you do that, the moment you do that, all the leaks don't matter. And that's exactly what happened with Nolan when that first Joker picture got leaked, where he was behind that glass. Remember? Or no, maybe that was an intentional one. There was one where he was on the skateboard. There was a video of that floating around. I remember. God, 2008.
Yeah, no, him doing it was like an ollie on over someone. But I know the photo that you're talking about.
Yeah, but
the
so
promotional image of just the Joker with a smile.
Yeah, he was like,
And it was
"Fuck it,
a blur,
fuck it."
like, you
Yeah.
You didn't know.
Well,
But then after that, they did I think it was like a promotional thing that you had to piece together certain tidbits that it was going to be a reveal of Ledger, and that was really creative. In fact, dude, I missed the viral campaign.
God, that was great
with the Nolan films. It was amazing.
It was amazing, and there's this Batmania debate going on right now. Like, is it Batman '89 or The Dark Knight?
Dude,
to
be honest, I thought that we were gonna re-enter that because it was getting into. There was a momentum that it was going to happen again with the Flash with Keaton.
Oh,
but then, as I mentioned before, how marketing decided to do the pivot, it hurt the film. I know you've seen them too, but we've held on to the promotional images for well over a year and a half for all the characters.
Right.
And it befuddles me that we didn't even see a Batmania or just like a special issue magazine cover of just Keaton just celebrating that he's coming back.
And then
it was at the end. It was like the version of everything that was going on with Ezra. I get that, but to be honest, if you want to promote this damn film, don't straddle yourself. Do not be fearful of it. If you don't want to publish those images on the cover, you could. Well, you did say I can curse. You could fucking put the damn logo of the Flash on Empire magazine, stating the Flash special, a Flash special edition. That's it, and then just open the magazine and you have everything in there. It was not there, and to the point where even with Sasha Calle, I'm sorry, this was her breakout role, and she was great, but it's crazy that any coverage of her that has been going on the past few months, and even after the film has released, whether it's a new tidbit about Sasha, the image that they usually post, 9 out of 10, it's my friend Liz Wonder in the cosplay of Supergirl. and not of Sasha, because there's not that much of her images out there.
Right.
Because it was a failed promotion that they wanted to go on with word of mouth, which is a great move, of course, but you need to educate and convince the general audience at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was something that the WB has not figured out they've lost that for I don't know how many years. And it happened with the promotions of even with the Snyder Cut for HBO Max. Great marketing, but it was geared towards the fans, not towards the general audience.
Well,
People are wondering, like, is this just an extended cut of what came out in 2017?
Well, but let's be real. Let's be real about that. The general audience didn't give a shit about that. They didn't care about the first one opening weekend when no one knew if it was good, bad, or indifferent or whatever. I mean,
no, I can agree with you with that for the general audience, but I'm just talking about just in general when you need to market a product, you have to pierce through the general audience because quite frankly, there was a lot of confusion out there for that and for any film moving after. Like Black Adam actually did well with the general audience for marketing.
You're going to drive me down a rabbit hole on Snyder Cut, aren't you? You son of a...
Oh, no, I'm not. Actually, I'm not. That was only one little segue for that.
I'm kidding.
I'm just I'm just moving on.
Yeah, it's what
I'm just saying that we've lost the marketing that WB was known for, especially after the Nolan film.
I got to say one thing and I'll shut up, but that project probably wouldn't have been finished and have seen the light of day if it wasn't for COVID. And COVID was a gift to that project because HBO Max, everything had to stream and they needed content. And you know what? At the end of the day,
to be honest, I am not in disagreement. For something like that, the stars had to align and everything aligned for it to happen. And I'm happy it came out.
100%. It doesn't change the fact that I was wrong that it was going to come out though, because it did. Period. There's no. I can explain I can twist myself my Kevin Bacon gif I like to put on where he's doing this, but at the end of the day it came out. Hey, I got to run here in a second, but I want to ask you one last question and we'll close this thing out. There's this line that gets blurred sometimes between what happens on Twitter, social media, Facebook about fandom, and what happens in real life, and what do general audiences know and give a damn about versus just online fandom. What was real interesting this morning, it was on Good Morning America or whatever show, nationally syndicated news thing we had on the background this morning. I can't remember which one it was. They were talking about the Aquaman reshoots. And I was like, what? This is it was like on morning, normal TV. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Now that's really out there. That's not just, hashtags that, 20,000 people do. And it looks like the whole world knows. That is... Oh, it doesn't even take that many, really. What do you think? What do you think is the fate of this film? Give me your quick predictions on it.
It's, to be honest, it's 50-50 because, you do have, it's out there now that the film has been in trouble for a while. And if you've been following it within our bubble, we've known. Now it's out there. It's the question it comes down to is how you're going to present it moving forward for December. It's all about the marketing because you can sell shit and people are going to go out there in droves just to purchase it. And you may have the best product in the world and no one's going to look at it and just scoff until years later. Like, oh my God, this is actually
that's right.
Great.
Box office.
It comes down to that. You have to convince the audience, and it's gonna be up for WB if they're willing to move forward with it because they're pouring a shit ton of money on this film for it to be a success, and which they did with the Flash and the others, but they fucked it up, and right now they're fucking it up with Blue Beetle. We saw the box office predictions, which is not a surprise because again, the general audience doesn't know what the hell is going on with this character or who this character is. There's not a campaign just to educate, to know everything that is Blue Beetle, like something that you will see on the Marvel side, because they will shove that shit down your throat, knowing that the next character moving forward. We're not seeing that. They're focusing on let's market a month before release. yeah, sometimes it works, especially for streaming. Not so much on the box office. We've been seeing it over and over again, and they keep on following those trappings. So I'm hoping, yeah, it's out there for Aquaman. Everyone knows now. Now it's up to WB to act up and figure out the success for this film, because the first one I loved it, and no one believed it was going to make the numbers that it did. In fact, they thought
you're talking about Aquaman, right?
Aquaman #1, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I liked it too, because I really borderline love Man of Steel, and I halfway like Batman versus Superman, but it doesn't work for me. It didn't work for a lot of people, unfortunately. No. And that was probably the original. Yeah, that was the original sin of a lot of the stuff, but let's not go there. But here we are. But it was, because I mean the characters weren't.
I agree. I agree with you.
People weren't invested in these characters moving forward. They just weren't, and that's just the reality. And look, we have to, as fans, sometimes go, it's not a personal attack. I'm not saying it's dumb that you love this work of art. I'm not even saying I disagree with you. What I'm saying is, like, I love The Last Jedi. I agree with the critics. I agree with the A Cinema Score. I think it's a brilliant piece of pop art. I think it's a great Star Wars story. At the end of the day,
this is why we're friends.
The reason number 370, but it split faction fandom, and it was not just the trolls. I mean, like, true passionate fans that I know personally that are good, smart people hate that movie. They hate it. And so because of that, I recognize that Rian Johnson's never doing Star Wars again. Maybe he'll direct an episode of some Disney Plus thing down the road. Maybe. I hope he does, but probably not. He's not doing a trilogy. That's not going to happen. And for better, worse, and different, episode 9 had to really change course, so to speak, because they had to make changes. For me not to acknowledge that's like me saying owls don't exist. Like, it's just reality, and that's all we're talking about here. All right, all right, buddy. I got to run. I know you got family to get to and everything. Thank you for doing this, and please come back and let's talk.
Of course,
there's so much shit going on that, like, we could probably do a show a day, the two of us. But let's reconvene this sooner than later. And thank you so much for doing this. I really mean that. You're a big support.
Thank you for inviting me. And to be honest, it's an honor, especially following you and also in your path with Batman on Film, because I was in that community ever since. To be honest, I remember seeing a Access Hollywood promo talking about that website as a way just to bring back Batman as it should be. And I was wondering, what the hell is this? And I was a kid seeing that, and it jumped me on there, and I stayed current with it, and that's how I was introduced to you down the line. And now we're here, which is great.
For that and all the friends I've made along the way, it was worth all the 10 years. I was, or 9 years. So I had a hell of a run there, but that's awesome. All right, so plug away. Where can we list all 30 of your Twitter handles? Go.
To be honest, just follow us at the Flash Film News. We'll be doing an announcement in the next month or so on exactly what's going on with all of these accounts and a rebrand moving forward, and a possible pivot to other channels. So it's a to be continued on that aspect. We're not leaving.
That's great, man. I hope you don't.
That's for sure.
When you do that, if we don't speak officially on the record here before that, that'll definitely be a show. Thanks again. And I'm gonna
thank you,
I'm gonna sign off before I inadvertently say your name live here. All right, I'm Rick Shue. On behalf of myself, Courtney Cheek, and Brian Chatelain, we're the Friends for Work. Thanks for watching. I'll have this up on iTunes tomorrow. If you're listening to iTunes, I'm not editing this out, so that may be weird, but you get the idea. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.